and keeping my eye on that so it doesn't start bouncing sound. And we're going to go ahead and open up our book. So I'm here with Bruce Rawles. This is, there we go, Bruce Rawles, Lynn Johnson, and we are here reading Absence from Felicity, which is a story of the uh, scribing of A Course in Miracles by Kenneth Wapnick. Not the scribing by Kenneth Wapnick, but the book is by Kenneth Wapnick, PhD.
Helen Schuckman did describing, as we know.
Yes, the scribing of the Course in Miracles by Helen Schuckman. The story of Helen Schuckman. There we go. And we got it up on the board. Yay.
Great. Perfect.
Yeah. So, and we've been reading about the poems.
Hmm.
So we just were reading about the poems of disappointment. I guess that uh, she was basically telling Jesus, hey, you told me this was going to happen, and now I find myself in something entirely different, and I don't like it. So she's writing these poems to Jesus that seem to be kind of uh, not happy. Bleak is what he says. So we just read the first one, and we were going to go ahead and start reading the second one today, which I'll be happy to do. You have any thoughts about this, Bruce?
Well, I was thinking about disappointment, and I had a chuckle when I was out for a walk this morning, and I was looking around. Very, very lovely neighborhood, very well kept up. Well, nothing to complain about. And I thought, well, what's disappointing is, everything on this level is great, but it's smack dab in the middle of space time. So
Darn.
oh well. What was I
Location,
thinking?
location, location.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. But that's okay. That's where I am too. So
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll just help each other relocate to a better thought system.
exactly, exactly. And
Okay. Okay.
that's what we're here for. Yeah. So
Actually, it's located in the smack dab in the middle of a projection of the thought of space-time. If I want to be more technically correct, right?
yes, a projection of space-time, which means that we are smack dab in a projector.
Right.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And boy, what a trip. Okay.
Hmm.
The second I'm starting from this book, we are actually we're moving up there. We're 89% through with this book. So it's not
Uh-huh.
that much longer, only 3 hours and
No.
47 minutes. So that's at least
If we
what,
just
six
sped
months?
read it, we could be done in 3 hours probably.
Oh yes, yes. Bedroom.
In another Zoom group, just a quick aside, there's a lady who likes to read slowly and she likes to listen slowly, and so we were watching some Ken videos, and from the FACIM YouTube channel, all was wonderful, and one of the things she said, well, can we just play this at three-quarter speed? And we all enjoyed what Ken had to say, but it was so funny because we've all been listening to Ken for so long. It's like it sounds like he's either heavily sedated or on some kind of medication. It
Uh-huh.
was really funny. It wasn't like his speech was slurred. It was just unnaturally slow, and it was humorous. Yeah, but we did pay attention to what he was saying, though. So
Well, and for some
yeah,
people,
yeah.
and in fact, I find that myself that if I speed up or if I slow down my speaking, it does slow down
Hmm.
my thinking and it actually helps me be a lot uh, more aware of what
Yeah,
it
it
is
can do
that
that.
I'm. So yeah, and reading, slowing down, I agree. I think, there's a limit, of course, but
Right.
for the most part, yeah, it's helpful to slow down.
The second of these I'll stop.
Yeah, yeah, stop, please.
A little too slow. Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read this The second of these May 1974 poems is The Wayside Cross, which my son in May of 1974, he was born in January of
Hmm.
1974. So I had a 5-month-old baby when she was
Ah.
scribing. I always think about
Hmm.
these things.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I had just left the Buddhist and gone home to my mother because I had a baby. And they were not helpful, but my mom was very helpful to me. So the wayside cross, which again reflects the bleak hopes of what is perceived as a failed promise, closing with a poignant quotation from Psalms 13 and 89.
Which are both
It's,
Fibonacci numbers, by the way.
oh yeah, yeah.
So I notice weird stuff like that. I mean, anyway,
I like that
trivia
though.
aside,
All right. So I tarry by the wayside. Homeless, I return each evening to an empty house, but to awaken and return each day to await again in silence and despair. How long, O Lord, did you ordain I be a dweller in a ghost house? Shadows come and fall across my eyes at night to bring a parody of sleep. By day I go in an illusion that I am awake to my appointed round of bitterness. The cup from which I drink is empty, and the crumbs allotted me will not sustain my little life but shortly. I retain a hope so frail it stifles in the dust of waiting on an ancient way that seems to lead to nowhere. I have not forgot your promise. I will wait until you come. But I must wait in sorrow with the song of dying all around me on the road on which I stand and wait for your return. How long, O lovely Lord of life? How long? That's a beautiful poem. It cracks me up. And I'm sure Ken's going to say it because Jesus
yeah,
says,
yeah.
how long, how long, how long?
And it's funny we're asking, the wall, why aren't you a door? And yet the door is right next to it, and we're
Yeah,
ignoring it,
every
But
day.
the wall, of course, is trying to make the ego system work for us and make us happy. And the door is Holy Spirit's real alternative that says, just, shift your perspective a little bit and look this way instead of that way, and you'll see the way out of your self-imposed prison.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But though
Just
it's interesting how she, in the poem, she basically blames Jesus or God or whatever, and instead of saying, "Well, wait a minute, what if it's my choice?" But that's the inevitable outcome of choosing duality is we pick the dead horse and wonder why we're not moving faster.
right,
Even things seem to be happening with incredible speed within the dream. In reality, in terms of our real uh, true contentment, nothing's happening at all. We're just kind of left in this the things with the song of sorrow and things dying all around us on the road,
yes.
waiting for the ego to deliver. And that's kind of what I get from the poem, and blaming perfect oneness on it. Yeah.
I know, yeah. It's so ironic, isn't it, that
Hmm.
he has so much proof that not only does he exist, he's intervening in her life, he's giving her stuff, he's telling her where things are, he he gives her this magnificent uh, thought system to share with the world, and yet she is alone in a room by herself and doesn't have that uh, feeling of accomplishment or joy, uh, and she's blaming God, and I say I do that too. We all do that. So, uh, very very clear, evident to me why the story of Helen is like this. because when you can see such resistance in the face of so much proof that, that God exists and still having resistance to doing what he's asking you to do, that's pretty, first off, that's pretty bold. And I
Hmm.
think it takes great faith because even as she's blaming him and shaming and saying, you let me down, she still has faith that he's going to come and fix her and help her. And she's just going to wait. How long, oh lovely Lord of life? How long? So crazy.
How long?
How long? All right, let's see what Ken has to say about this. Helen occasionally spoke to me of her bitterness of being in what she experienced as a catch-22 situation with Jesus. Of course, that's a story that only was available in the 70s. The catch-22. I don't remember when that book was written, but uh,
It's been
uh,
a while. That's been quite a while.
yeah, but I mean, as far as in the 70s, it was they were. I think they made a movie, um,
Hmm.
but it was fairly new and popular. So I think she experienced a catch-22 situation uh, with Jesus. On the one hand, she was told that the way she would know and trust his love was by giving up her fear and judgment. On the other hand, she could not give up her ego without his love. In like manner, we can say that Jesus waits for our invitation, and yet it is his presence that enables us to offer it. The invitation expresses this seemingly paradoxical process, although within a positive framework. The poem, incidentally, is one of the very few in the collection, as I mentioned briefly above, that departs from a strict iambic pentameter. Jesus is the speaker here. And Bob says the perils of Yossinians. Exactly. That was a catch-22. All right. Oh, okay. Sounds good. So I came to you. This is the poem. I saw your tears and knew that you were ready. You had asked me in the instant that you understood that sin is an illusion. You were poor indeed. I saw your grasping hands and watched them bleed from golden nails, a heavily jeweled crown around your head as sacred as my own. I needed you as much. Yet till you grew in understanding, I could only wait in silent patience beyond heaven's gate. My father's house stood empty, for as we are part of him, so are you a part of me. We enter in together. We are one. And so I finish what I had begun. This is from the Gifts of God, page 90. So that's Jesus talking about it. I waited for you when you got you ready. I came to you. I'm still waiting. And let us, as soon as you're ready, we are going together. And that's what he's saying to all of us, really. As soon as we're ready, we are all going together. And so, yeah, it is very much a one-to-one situation. As far as our egos would make it seem, it couldn't possibly be an equal situation between me and Jesus. But in Jesus's mind, we are equal. So, and he's just waiting for us to remember that. So as soon as I remember that I'm equal with him, then I can stand with him and walk with him, and we can walk each other home together. But as long as I think that he's above me or beyond me or away from me or someplace else, and I'm saying Jesus in terms of not a man or even a figure, but the idea, the thought of God.
Hmm.
That is what is Jesus, and that is what I am. So that thought of God is in my mind, waiting for me to get to the point where I'm able to hear it and see it. and join with it. So again, another poignant uh, poem. And
Hmm.
Bruce, was there somebody playing music outside of your window?
No, just a lot of commute traffic and road noise.
No, that must have been my neighbor playing really loud
Oh,
music. Like, what is that sound?
okay.
And this is early Saturday morning.
Uh,
We live near the university, and what they do is they have a lot of uh, what do you call them, drills, and is they're out there with the band
mm,
playing, and they're there's all kinds of we hear all kinds of stuff. It's like there's a big party going on somewhere, and no, it's just the people at the university doing their
okay.
because it's school's back.
Doing their thing, huh?
Yep. So anyway, so there we go. It's a beautiful poem, and Jesus really talking to us about he's waiting for us, and but it's beautiful to Helen. Uh, Again, it's hard to imagine so much resistance when you're being given these thoughts.
Hmm.
um, but he saw our grasping hands and watched them bleed from golden nails, a heavy jeweled crown around our head as sacred as his own. And then I love this. I needed you as much. Yet till
Mm,
through an understanding, I can only wait. So this is he's waiting. Jesus needs us, and he says that to us in the course over and over and over. I need you. I need your hands. I need your feet. I need your eyes. I need your voice. I need you. And uh, we're sitting over going, oh, poor me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what what can I do to help? Well, he's given us some real strict, very, very clear instructions. So all we have to do is listen and do it.
yeah,
Uh,
and it's a very simple process. It's just trust the Holy Spirit's interpretation and route our sensory data to Holy Spirit for analysis and interpretation rather than to the ego, because the Holy Spirit's answer is very simple: is nothing happened. Holy Spirit has that incredibly simple answer that contrasts uh, absolutely with the egos. Well, this is good, this is bad, this is positive, this is negative. I like this, I don't like that. But it's all special love and special hate
yeah,
instead of just complete acceptance of our reality, which doesn't have to fight against the dualistic dream, right?
exactly. And and
Yeah.
and and yes, nothing happened and nothing is happening.
Hmm.
That's that's the other thing. Nothing is really going on right now, except in the mind of the ego.
It's quite a dream, isn't it? Yeah.
It is amazing. So I will continue reading. And if you want to read, your internet is sounding really good now.
I
So
th I think it might be stable enough. Let me give it a go.
okay,
Okay,
great.
so we have already seen the other side of this ambivalence in the love poems. For although Helen could feel hatred toward Jesus for betraying his promises, yeah, right. Like he really broke a promise. Never made any promises about dreams, right? No, pardon the aside. Uh, let- I'll start that sentence again. For although Helen could feel hatred toward Jesus for betraying his promises, she would become even more furious at others who would speak negatively of him. It was as if her intimacy with Jesus allowed her the prerogative and freedom to yell at him, similar to what sometimes occurs in relationships where two people are very close to each other, yet fight constantly. I think we can all relate to that in some way or another, whether it's a life partner, a coworker, sibling, other family member, uh, someone on the highway, just pick any relationship really, and there's always some kind of special love, special hate thing going on. If we look carefully enough, right? But let an outsider, in quotes, speak ill of the other, and quickly the underlying love sweeps aside the more superficial hate. I appropriately close this chapter on Helen's relationship with Jesus, her way, truth, and life, with one of her lovely Valentine poems to him. The resting place. My arms are open. Come, my Lord, to me and rest upon my heart. It beats for you and sings in joyous welcome. What am I except your resting place and your repose? Your rest is mine. Without you, I am lost in senseless wanderings that have no end, no goal, no meaning on a road that goes in twisted byways down to nothingness. Well, that sounds like it's paraphrased from the Course, doesn't it? Oh, once more. Come now, my love, and save me from despair. The way, the truth, the life are with me then. The journey is forgotten in the joy of endless quiet and your kiss of peace. That's from the Gifts of God, page 54. Wow, that's really sweet and wonderful. Yeah, and the reality that the Course keeps holding out to us, and we keep hemming and hawing, and say, well, yeah, okay, maybe I'll try this consistent piece, but at some point, but yeah, I'm still trying out the dream of specifics and stuff and duality, and it hasn't really worked out for me, but I keep trying. Eventually, maybe I'll tire of it,
Yeah,
get bored with the ever shifting, unstable foundation that the ego provides for nothing,
for nothing. Yeah,
to build nothing onto nothing, trying to make it into something
this is
when
just yeah,
everything is waiting for us. Yeah.
yeah. It's just so sweet and beautiful. Yeah, it is a beautiful poem,
Mhm.
and I wonder how. I mean, when we're reading about the kiss of peace, and I'm thinking about Helen's relationship with Jesus. Um, she, that pretty crazy.
Mhm.
And these, I guess, the footnotes, the way this is done, the footnotes are here. So uh,
Mhm.
I think uh, we just want to go ahead and move on to the next
Okay.
chapter.
Sure.
Although this is interesting, but uh, yeah.
Okay.
So, or let's see. So let's go on. Unless you have something else.
No, no,
All
that's good.
right.
Yeah, I think I just skimming the footnotes as you showed them on the screen. I think we've kind of gone over most of what was covered previously anyway,
That's what I was
about the
thinking.
capitalization and all those kinds of
Yeah.
things, some of the
Yeah. It
technical
was interesting
stuff.
the whole idea of cannibalism that he talks about. That and it is, that's often what I thought being a young Catholic girl was eating flesh and drinking blood every
Yeah,
Sunday
yes, it's a
or every day, really.
kind of zombie-like, right?
Yeah. And oh God,
Hmm.
we accepted it. We thought it was wonderful. So we looked forward to the time when we would be able to do it. We were little. Oh, I get my first Holy Communion now, and we had to go through all the rigmarole of why did God make me and who am I and it's just so weird. We have that Baltimore Catechism. We were talking about this the other day. That it says, why did God create me? God made me to know Him and to love Him, and I mean, it really is to be with Him forever in paradise. That it's a nice, lovely thing they told us as children, and
Hmm.
and hit us up with, yeah, but if you don't do the right thing, you're going to be burning in flames of fire with demons torturing you forever. So, and that's a long time.
Forever.
Forever. It's a long, long time.
And we still think of forever and eternity in linear terms and finite terms,
Oh, yeah.
because that's what we think we made, and we've forgotten how to identify with eternity and infinity, and feel the peace of that. Although
Yeah.
we're getting, I think, glimpses of it. That's why we're drawn to the Course, right?
Yeah. Definitely getting glimpses of it more and more every
Hmm.
day. How wonderful that is.
Oh yeah.
so, so, chapter 17, the reality of Jesus into Christ's presence. And I'll read for a while.
Hmm.
Helen, as Helen, always experienced Jesus as separate from her, a person to be loved, hated, or ignored. It was only when she was in the state of mind symbolized by the priestess that she could transcend the ambivalence of her relationship with Jesus and become one with the love that was their shared identity. Helen's experience of the priestess during the summer of 1965, as we have seen, began with an experience of separation, but with that clear recognition of the essential unity that was truly there. Thus, the conflict of what Helen usually experienced as her life revolved around hating and loving Jesus. The ultimate solution came in transcending the ambivalence entirely and becoming one with Him. In the language of the early text, right mindedness corrected wrong mindedness, leaving the one mindedness of Christ. The previous chapter examined Helen's ambivalent relationship with Jesus. Here I shall discuss Jesus and Helen's relationship to him from the perspective of the priestess, that is, from the point in Helen's mind beyond, quote, heaven and Helen, unquote. It is from this point that we are able to identify Jesus not as a person with a definite personality who speaks to us or specifically guides our lives, but as the symbol within our separated minds of the abstract and universal love of Christ. The pamphlet, The Song of Prayer, in its discussion of prayer, by implication addresses this issue of Jesus as reality and symbol. We therefore begin with the pamphlet and the interesting and important circumstances of its writing. Oh, we were just talking about this the other day. Someone mentioned it. So the specifics that led to the writing of the Song of Prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me look here real quick and make sure everything is broadcasting as it should. Apparently so.
Okay.
Good. All right. The
Should I read
song.
from here?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Okay. The Song of Prayer, Special Message. The origin of the Song of Prayer in the fall of 1977 bears directly on the different levels of relating to Jesus, and therefore warrants presentation before we consider the actual teachings of the pamphlet. For some time I had been feeling uneasy over our manner of or our manner and practice of, quote, asking, unquote. This discomfort referred first of all to Helen and Bill's meditating and asking Jesus or the Holy Spirit for very specific help in matters such as times to meet, street corners to stand on for taxi cabs, whether to attend certain meetings, and the like. On joining Helen and Bill, I naturally joined with them in this activity of asking as well, although again, something never seemed to me to be quite right with it. After we met Judy, this practice of asking for specifics continued, and if anything, seemed to increase with all the practical decisions that needed resolution. Quite frequently, during our afternoon meetings at Judy's apartment, the four of us would sit quietly and ask, in quotes, specifically what we should do regarding the course. While we frequently would receive answers, and often the same ones, after all, minds are joined, I continued to feel uncomfortable with the process. It all seemed so magical, and while I did not believe the phenomena in and of itself was necessarily invalid, it did seem to be somewhat less than what we were capable of doing, especially Helen. The meetings seemed to miss the whole point of developing a meaningful relationship with Jesus, for relating to him obviously involved much more than simply asking very specific questions. I increasingly felt that there was some self-deception involved insofar as it did not seem to me that this prayer activity was really what it appeared to be. I especially felt this in regard to what I believed was the confusion between psychic ability and true spirituality. Something indeed was missing in all of this, and it had to do with the absence of Jesus' love and peace. Wow. Well, I think that clarifies a lot of things and a lot of, related thoughts I have when I find people using the course as sort of a dowsing device or a divination tool. If you
Magical
to use
Oracle.
an oracle, yeah, all those metaphors come to mind. It's like, well, it's not about fixing the dream or improving the dream, and Yeah, we probably can use just about anything that way, and but then that's just using our divided mind to create another divided result, which doesn't really get us anywhere. So, I love how Ken also says it's not evil, sinful, or wicked. It's just silly, and it's really just not getting us where we want to be.
Yeah.
So,
And,
but
I was reading, as you were reading, I was thinking about the difference because here, to me, Helen and Bill didn't come from a place of mystical uh, knowledge and divination. They came
right,
from a
right,
place of academia and
yeah, yeah,
proofs and all that kind of stuff.
science and statistics and analytics and all that,
Yeah,
yada yada.
and
Yep,
if it doesn't, if you can't count it, it doesn't exist. That kind of feeling, thought. And Ken, although he was a psychologist, he had delved into the mystical, and
right,
he was
right.
coming from a state of profound mysticism in which he
Hmm.
had experienced or had a knowing of what uh, living on faith was about, or what living in in reality was about. And so when he was, and I agree with him, I'm sure that when
Hmm.
you
Oh
know
yeah.
if of course what we know now, of course you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't get together with people and say, oh, let us all ask. I mean, I've seen people asking the Holy Spirit how much cheese to shred over their salad, right? I've heard people asking the Holy Spirit, should I get up or should I sit down? Should I go? You know,
Yeah.
hello.
And that's kind of missing the point. Just, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Level
Uh,
confusion, basically.
and it's good. I mean, it's there's nothing wrong with what they were doing because,
Yeah. Yeah.
at the state of knowing and faith that they had at the time, it was really the to them the best thing they could do. And
Yeah. Yeah.
still, I hear, and I do it myself sometimes, Course in Miracles students, when someone says, "Oh, so and so has cancer," or "So and so is, their family member died," or whatever, we're like, "Oh, well, I will pray for them and pray for God to help them and give them." This is not the. That's I agree. Asking for magical uh, remedies or magical intervention, divine intervention
Hmm. Hmm.
really is a mistake.
Yeah. And but it's not a sin. It's just garden variety level confusion, and there's tremendous variety there. As you're saying that, Lynn, I appreciate how you shared that and phrased it, because it kind of reminded me that the impulse to ask Holy Spirit or Jesus or any other non-ego presence in our mind, whatever we want to call that, for help is crucial. So if anything, I probably err on the side of not asking Holy Spirit enough um, for help with my mind. But the the other way to kind of miss the point is to ask Holy Spirit frequently for help to fix the dream. And I probably have learned enough to not do that very often, and yet I probably just need to ask Holy Spirit for help more frequently and to be in my mind throughout the day more often, just to look at the dream without you know identifying with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 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 absolutely,
But
absolutely.
neither of those methods will work. Asking Holy Spirit for help with stuff in the dream and it becoming my on-call virtual dream repair technician, in my mind. That's not what the course is about. But neither is it about ignoring Holy Spirit's counsel. And so there's my that's probably my classroom. And just remembering to just okay throughout my day when I'm off on my own doing all my usual stuff around the house or in the world, and now I've got a new house that's been keeping me plenty busy with all the myriad nuances and little trivial projects that crop up. And it's just like, oh well, I could be doing that with Holy Spirit, not bringing Holy Spirit into the dream, but taking my mind, back to Holy Spirit and watching the dream figure with gentleness and kindness, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and
And
patience.
courage and not
Yeah,
not,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that too.
knowing that, yeah, everything is going to be okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which and Glorian said, uh, we ask for spiritual wisdom. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really what we ask the Holy Spirit. We don't ask the Holy Spirit
Exactly.
how much cheese I should put on my salad.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it won't get
Oh,
you very far, like Ken says. It's
it's
okay. So I got a nicely cheese balanced salad. Now what? And it kind of ties into what Ken discussed at length in earlier parts of the book that we've read over the last couple of years. Is, Helen at some point realized what she was doing by asking Jesus to be, for example, her divine shopping service, and she realized, well, at some point she just stopped doing that because she realized she outgrew it. She's just
yeah,
like, okay, I've proven to myself that I can trust Jesus, but I've been trying to use it again, for level confusion, to do dream maintenance and dream upgrades or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. And I was listening to Ken talking the other day about it. The day that Helen, because he used to spend his every day basically going shopping with Helen.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And so the
Yeah.
day that she said to him, Jesus told me I don't need to do that anymore. Jesus told her, don't go, you don't need to be shopping anymore. I'm sure that was a huge relief to Ken. Like, really?
Yeah. Or maybe it was just part of his classroom of looking without condemnation on Helen's
Yeah,
reliance on level of confusion, and learning that, and she became maybe a symbol for him of, oh, I can do that too. Or maybe he'd already done it. Who knows? It doesn't matter.
right, right. But
I'm
you know,
just conjecturing. Yeah.
but the fact that Jesus, would tell Helen, you don't need to shop anymore, and
Hmm.
for Helen to say, okay, and give it up. Wow. That's like, giving up smoking or something. The Holy Spirit said you don't need to smoke anymore when you're a 3 pack a day person.
You don't
You
need
know,
to inhale anymore. Just exhale, right?
yeah, just throw
I'll provide the oxygen internally, and you
exactly.
just you just exhale. Yeah.
You really want to just, yeah. But and Glorian says all beliefs that lead to progress should be honored.
Yes. Oh, that's such an important point, Gloria. Thank you, Gloria. Yeah, because I mean that's also akin to the the idea that Freud realized that you don't want to undermine people's defenses, because allow people to have their defenses, and it's not our job to fix the world, including anyone else that we think should be doing something differently, or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
Because we all have our defenses and our forms of resistance. And if someone asks for help, then sure, why not? I mean, point out what you think might be helpful. But if it's being sensitive to when someone's really asking, and we'll know. I mean,
oh, that's huge. That's
yeah,
huge.
I'm sure all of us, listening, have done this enough times where we can think of examples where it's backfired when we've gone out of our way to officiously be helpful, and it hasn't helped at all. In fact, usually it's made things worse, because then it's taken as a criticism or a condemnation, instead of when someone is genuinely asking, then usually there's gratitude involved, you know,
Oh,
rather than
and I
backfiring.
think we're learning of that a lot from our. We've been studying nonviolent communication and other communication techniques that really
Mhm.
delve into that. Looking without judging, looking without evaluation, and
Mhm.
choosing what to say without evaluating the situation. Just it really is a practice, and you can learn it. So it's very important to
Yes.
look at your thinking, look at your mind, think about what you're thinking about, as Regis
What
reads.
am I thinking is the present tense of what was I thinking?
Exactly. Where am I?
Bringing it to the present.
Okay. Oh, you want me to read?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So I knew that Helen understood, and so from time to time, I shared my thoughts with her. Helen did not disagree with me, but but as she had already begun to withdraw from active involvement with the course, I recognized that there was not much to be done in terms of changing our practice. In addition, I understood the implications of this discussion regarding her relationship with Jesus. As I shall discuss below, Helen's relegating Jesus to being not much more than an information giver defended nicely against the abstract love that was their mutual reality. This reality truly representing the end of the ego thought system. Nonetheless, I did feel this issue of asking was itself important for us to talk about. And so from 1973 on, Helen and I would discuss the subject of asking from time to time, and our talks became more serious as the years went by. One such discussion in the fall of 1975 led to the special message of October 5th, which I presented in full in Chapter 14. This message dealt with the subject of asking for specifics, and the reader may recall that it emphasized, among other things, the importance of removing the judgments that would interfere with our hearing, and did not emphasize at all what we should specifically hear. And there again, right there is the importance of not evaluating what it was that we
Mhm.
were hearing, not
Mhm.
judging, not evaluating, not diagnosing, not figuring it out, just to listen without judgment. That is the first number one key to all of it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So these discussions between Helen and me culminated one afternoon in 1977, the details of which I only vaguely recall now, though I do remember Helen's concern. Soon afterwards, she began to scribe a special message from Jesus on the specific subject of asking and prayer. It is a personal message to Helen. Let's see.
Oops.
Sorry.
I
It
think you skipped a
formed the
line.
basis, I
Yeah.
skipped a line.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
formed the basis for the present opening pages of the pamphlet, which followed shortly after the personal message to Helen. I shall first present the message in its entirety, along with my comments, followed in the next section by the relevant passages from the beginning of the pamphlet. So yeah, so now all of a sudden Helen's getting this new transmission after the questioning and thought about asking for help. So Ken continues. Jesus began by addressing an issue that was increasingly arising in our circle. Besides Bill and Judy asking Helen for specific advice and answers to questions, others were demanding this of her as well. Helen generally felt uncomfortable with this role and frequently told me how annoyed Bill would get with her if she were not able to give him an answer he wanted, as he felt that she was withholding from him. While Helen did at times hear answers from Jesus for people, and often for Bill, she understood intuitively the potential trap in this for herself as well as for others. Yes, it is always tempting to mistake the form as the answer instead of the content of experiencing Jesus' presence. This
Bingo. Well,
experience, oh,
can we pause right there? I
yes,
think that's such an important sentence. It's always tempting to mistake the form of the answer instead of the content of experiencing Jesus' presence. I mean, that's huge, I think, really. It's just because the form is always, well, okay, let's take the specific thing and then still dwell on the specific. But the content of the experience of that pure, non-dual, kind, eternally peaceful, loving, all-inclusive self that in which everyone is included, that experience, that presence is what we're looking for. I mean, and because we are so convinced that we need some specific change in the world, or some answer to something in the world, we kind of overlook the obvious, which is that what we really want is um, the peace and the stability and the um, the exquisite calm that comes from not taking the dream seriously.
Not taking the dream seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that is the bottom line of all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But what part of this dream do I insist is real?
Yeah, exactly. And we've shifted around in order to keep the ego's, agenda intact. But once we realize that we're just rearranging the holodeck chairs on a Titanic dream, as I like to say, it's like, well, that's kind of silly, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
rearranging the chairs is on any level probably not too helpful.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's a holodeck and a Titanic dream, it's like,
Yeah.
well, that's pretty silly, isn't it?
It's pretty silly.
It's not going to reach its destination.
Yeah. That holodeck, man, there's some really cool stories that come out of the idea of the holodeck that actually um, help us to understand the truth about what is happening. I was thinking about one where I don't know what, there was a problem. There was some kind of a problem, and uh, there was a scientist, a woman scientist, who had the solution to it or something, but she was not on the Enterprise at all. She was someplace on another planet. Uh, but Geordi, remember Geordi? He knew
Hmm.
that this scientist had come up with something, and so he went to the holodeck and had her recreated on the holodeck,
Hmm.
so he can ask questions of her and come up and find out what the answer to it. But as they, this is great, as they connected with each other on the holodeck, they became, uh, they kind of fell in love with each other, and they had a relationship. But Jordy and this hologram on the holodeck had a relationship, a love relationship, and so that was, but they got the answer, everything was cool, right? Then they get to the planet where the real woman lives, and she filed like a sexual harassment suit against him for, for having for having made up.
Oh my gosh. Have you seen the movie Dream Scenario?
No, I have.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. Nicolas Cage plays this college professor, and he's teaching a psychology class, and I think that's the context. It's been a while since I've seen it, but a few years ago. He's teaching this class, and his college students start having dreams about him, and then pretty soon the dreams, go south, and he's accused of all these things, but they're they're all in the students' dreams, and then now they're assaulting him. Well, with that spoiler alert, now he gets in the public eye, and then people all over the place start really, accusing him of all this stuff, but it's all in their dreams.
Oh, and they're dreams. Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, it's an interesting premise and a very clever concept for a movie. But if you haven't seen it, it's called Dream Scenario. But
that is
but also,
hilarious.
what we're talking about just kind of reminds me that, we're all trying to, manipulate the holodeck. I'm gonna have to go back and watch, because I think I was in college when those a lot of those Star Trek episodes came out, and I was pretty busy with schoolwork and stuff. So I didn't have a TV, so I probably missed a lot of those, I think. But anyway, I watched enough of them to know, the Geordi character, but I'm sure I get a lot out of those episodes as well. But the idea that we make accusations based on dream scenarios, dream holodeck uh, experiences, or as Richard Bach says, Warner Brother worlds and MGM lifetimes.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, and we have those examples to give us an idea of, this is what you're doing. This is
Hmm.
what I'm doing now. This is not, some far future dream. This is a story now of what is going on in my mind. So I'll have to check out that dream scenario. And I hate to ask, but did it turn out that he was doing it, or was it?
Oh
Uh,
no, 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 no. He basically was, but he, well, anyway, another spoiler alert. He doesn't respond well. I mean, if he really had been a course student and practiced it, he might have just shrugged it off. But he started, overreacting to their overreactions. And anyway, but it
okay,
was interesting concept for a film. Yeah,
I'll definitely have to watch that one.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so okay, we have a few more minutes.
yeah.
So, um, all right, let's see. I was in the paragraph. Okay, so while Helen did at times hear answers from Jesus for people and often for Bill, she understood intuitively the potential trap in this for herself as well for others. It is always tempting to mistake the form as the answer instead of the content of experiencing Jesus' presence. This experience of his peace alone was the answer, for it alone could be generalized to all problems.
Hmm.
And the only answer, real answer, has to be able to be useful and generalized to everyone. There's no specific answers to any specific problem because there is no
Are you still there?
specific problem. And
Oh, you,
so when he was, did you lose me there?
oh, your audio dropped out for me for a second or two.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully it's okay.
That
Uh,
sounds good now. Yeah.
okay, yeah. So what was I saying? This idea that there is a solution to a problem. Uh, well, first you have to think that the problem actually exists,
Hmm.
and so you have to contend with the original mistake in believing that there could be a world that in which God is absent and mistakes are possible.
Hmm.
So if you can get through that and get back to the state of being the holy Son of God, which is what we are, the truth of what we are, then the problem goes away on its own because we recognize that I have no problems. Lessons 79 and 80. What is the problem? Uh, that there's a problem. The answer, it's already been solved.
I
So,
was just thinking those two lessons too. Our minds are joined.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And the solution is always the same. It's always the Son of God is innocent. We're all the Son of God. Tag, we're all it. We're all innocent. Nothing happened. Forgiveness is a done deal. Well, I just have to be willing to remove the blocks to the awareness of that thought of forgiveness.
Yeah, yeah. And what's wrong with doing that other than the fact that I built those blocks and I think they're important and I think they mean something and I have a whole
Hmm.
story about every single one of them that I could tell you in great detail so that you would understand and you would believe it too. This is why we don't let go of it,
Right.
because we talk ourselves into believing it and being affected by it. We choose our own hell. It's a choose your own hell adventure story. I love it. Anyway, let's see what's going on here on the chat real quick. So uh,
Robert's got a great example of his his mother having a dream that his father was having an affair and punished him by not talking for 2 weeks. Well, well. How utterly ironic and light of ACM. Yeah, exactly. Dream seriously, but that's what we do. I mean, we don't that
yeah,
idea.
hope you're
Um,
warbling.
having dreams.
Yeah, we kind of lost you there. You started warbling, but it's the end of our time, so it's probably
Okay, we don't nighttime dreams to daytime dream um, understanding, right?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if you just saw this as a dream, and you can do that. I mean, we can do that. We don't need to have a any miracle, miraculous thing happen to us. We can just look at it and realize it. And to me, honestly, The way the world is now and the situation, like politically and culturally, socially, spiritually, things that are going on in the world right now, if I looked at them and took them seriously, I might be in a panic. But in reality, I can look at them and say, this is so unbelievably silly that it couldn't possibly be real.
Hmm.
How unbelievably silly this is. And
Outrageously, hilariously funny. It when seen from the proper perspective. Yeah. But most of the time we're so immersed in our little comedic farce that and taking it seriously that we miss the joke. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And exactly why so many people didn't go swimming in the ocean after the movie Jaws came out. They had an idea, yeah, that they would be eaten by a shark when the possibility of that giant shark being there was so beyond reality that
Or
it,
probably their swimming pool in some cases. Yeah.
yes, their own swimming pool. People didn't want to, seriously. I remember the
But
effects of,
that's kind of, it's just so absurd, but we take everything in this world so seriously and we can all relate to doing that in different ways. And some people take certain things seriously and other people take other things seriously. And so that's why, we made it up so there's all these differences. And so we can, you know, laugh at rather than with each other when we're in ego mode. And then we've got the foundation for another war. So it's like,
that's
oh,
right,
well,
that's right.
okay.
And it has no foundation. It has no foundation. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
thank you, Bruce. This has been fun.
Oh, likewise, Lynn. As always, I always enjoy our Saturday morning conversations. And um, next week I'll be back in Arizona and look forward to picking up where we left off at 90% in our wonderful little book reading. Yep.
Amazing. All right,